Welcome in. Movie recap. In this video, action movie John Wick 3. Turn on subtitles and let's get started. Running through New York with time running out in his grace period, John turns into an alley and the Tick Man spots one of the Mullet King's spies getting into a cab. But the roads are closed with only 20 minutes until he's officially dethroned. He decides to get out and run again, but not before giving the driver a gold coin to take his dog safely back to the continent, and reaches the library and orders a book in Wick. He reveals a hidden compartment containing some coins, a sign of the cross and a picture of himself and his wife kissing by a big man with dangerously angled shelves books. John tells him he still has time, but Ernest doesn't care, who he will find out about a few minutes. They fight, which ends in John using the book to break Ernest's jaw and squeezing his neck, leaving him with a severe stab wound to the shoulder, even though he visits the doctor at the address while he isn't home with only 5 minutes to go. And the doctor agrees to help but has to stop stitching halfway. The grace period of over $14 million from John's grant is in full effect after he sews himself up and takes some pills. With a wave of assassins, they cornered him in an antique gun store. So John used ancient weapons to kill them in a fierce series of fights that included all kinds of antique knives. Stables where John uses horses and their powerful kicks to kill many enemies. He leaves the stables on horseback but is followed by 2 men on motorbikes, who John kills both of them off horseback. John's bounty has been raised to $15 million, asking him to empty his pockets and remove his belt. He met the headmistress and asked for her help by offering the cross he had picked up from the library, and they discussed John's history, where he grew up, and she took him to the back of the former stage training ballet dancers and jiu-jitsu wrestlers and asked him what he wanted, and he wanted to pass to Casablanca. She agreed to sever all ties with him, branding him with a cross in the process. The judge is here to see him after asking to see Santino's body. The judge tells Winston he must stand down because he allowed John to live after bloodshed on Continental land. The judge visits the king of the mullet. He tells her that he honors the previous caller, but she tells him that no one is free from the rules of the high table and that he must leave town because he gave John a gun knowing what it would be used for, as he laughs in her face, claiming he can't abdicate. John is part. The killer is not happy and tries to attack John, but the man shoots him and John goes to the Hotel Continental Morocco, where John is taken to see the manager. He sees pictures of a woman and her daughter before 2 growling dogs come standing next to him. Principal Sophia comes out of the shadows and shoots him in the chest. He falls to the ground, but his suit is bulletproof. She tells him she has to kill him, but he offers a pen she drew with John a little years ago. As a result of John saving her daughter, she asks him not to submit the mark. But John insists she should take him to see her old boss and reluctantly agrees that the judge will go to a small sushi shop that has a chef he doesn't know. I made it. He tells her that he didn't expect her so soon. He already knows about John and is interested in hunting him down, as he was assigned to do so by the judge. In addition to going after everyone who helped him, Sophia returns to John heavily armed as she hides a gun on one of the dog jackets. John assures her that he only wants to speak to her chief, but she is skeptical that they have arrived at a compound and are introduced to the old Barada chief, Sophia. And John tells Barada to take him to an elder sitting atop the high table. He can fix Rada doesn't know where he is, but he knows the sheikh only finds who he wants to find. He tells John to go into the desert and follow the stars until he's almost dead, as the eldest may or may not find him before they can leave. Barada asking for a gift. He wants one of Sophia's dogs, but she doesn't want to give the dog to him and he shoots it instead. Sophia shooting Barada in the leg, and the 2 escape, but more guards are on their way out of the compound with her dogs, who carry out her orders and then make their way into the desert. In the theater, the director watches a ballet performance by her students while her guards are slashed by the brutal and effective ninja. 3 men walk on stage and interrupt the referee's performance, and Zero approaches from behind. I do not allow her to help John. She agrees to show her loyalty. The judge demands that she be fined in blood. Zero passes his sword through her hands, but leaves her alive. John and Sophia lead them through the desert. John snaps his finger and signs that Sophia's debt has been fulfilled with her blood, as Sophia gives most of the water to her dogs, as she fills the rest in her mouth before spitting her mouth back into the bottle. She tells John that he will either die here or later. John walks across the desert with the bottle as she leaves, and walks across the dunes for a day and a night before collapsing in complex Arc of Kings. Ninja savagely slashes several of Zero's guards. Judge approaches the Mult King on the roof. He tells Judge he's willing to show loyalty, but she says he had his chance for defiance and sends his dove out of harm's way before Zero inflicts 7 wounds as punishment for the 7 bullets he gave it. He encounters a man from the desert in John's cloak and then awakens John in a tent and comes face to face with the elder. who tells him he has never seen a man before. So he asks him why he wants to live. John says he remembers Helen, so the eldest gives him a choice: die here or come back. Because he remembers the boogeyman again through death, he can't come out like before, but he can reverse isolation from the outside world in return. He must kill Winston. John agrees and swears allegiance to him by cutting off his wedding ring. He gives the ring as for the old man, and he accepts his allegiance, instructs his staff to help him prepare for his return to New York, and provides him with new clothes when he arrives in New York. They are cut down by some ninjas. Ninja takes John to see Zero. John and Zero are about to fight, but they are interrupted by a group of school kids. John is running away, killing 2 fire ninjas, and he takes motorcycle from Zero, and ninja killers chases John on the highway while driving at high speed. They kill many opponents using sword and chase them in the city, but both of them crash near the Continent. Because of John putting his hands on the ground, Continental chariot can't kill him. Escort John to waiting rooms. Winston meets John in a glass room, only used when one needs to see what his opponent is hiding under the table. He knows John is here to kill him and would rather be killed by a friend, but tells John there is another way. He can pull the trigger and sell his soul forever to become the bogeyman and work for the high table, or he can stand up and fight against the high table. He dies at the end as the man who loved his wife, and the judge arrives to see if Winston will stand down. You won't ask if John will kill him. R1. Continental unconsecrated business can now be conducted on his lands, and both men aim for some of the best high tables they will soon join. But in what circumstances Winston will see fit to restore all John's privileges, he will need so many arms. He is shown to the gun room, where he is told that the high table has improved their armor, and recommends that the stronger caliber Winston lock himself in the armory, while John, Sharon, and some loyal men go to fight off the onslaught of the guards of the high table. Is their armor harder than anyone thought? So John has to get close, and the character calls the referee and asks Winston how long he thinks he can keep the defense for, and puts the phone down before she finishes talking. Only John and Sharon survive the first wave of the high table. They regroup in the arms safe, where Sharon slips an armor-piercing rifle from him. The second wave arrives, and John makes quick work of them. The gun is able to blow their heads off, clearing the umpire's phones. Again, Winston asks if sharing might be helpful. He agrees. John makes his way to the glass room from before, where he was attacked by 2 ninjas. He was thrown from through several screens of glass. He eventually manages to kill both of them using his own sword. He makes his way upstairs, where Zero taunts him through the glass. Zero talks about how good he is at fighting and tells John he will catch up. John says he won't, because John lets Zero slide into the table. Dead Winston and the judge on the ceiling with a dock in it. I tell Winston this was only the first wave and more to come, and the Continent will fall by claiming he can take back the Continental. His bonds are deeper from these walls. Deciding Winston's show of force was a show of loyalty, the arbitrator reinstates Continental as principal, but tells him something must be done about John. Winston's approval, and fires so many times that bullets bouncing off his jacket push him backwards until he falls from the ceiling. Bouncing on various things somewhat broke his fall, and still hit the ground hard. The judge was convinced the judge was leaving. She decided she needed to check on John's body. She re-enters the Continent and tells Winston the body is gone, telling him they don't want John Wick to come after them. Winston agrees, and Baba Yaga whispers wheels to the little guy in a cart as John's dog follows him. Throne on throne drinking soda. He's a badly cut Bo King. He tells John to raise his hand if he can hear John's hand with his 3 fingers. John's hand goes up. The Bo King talks about John's betrayal and high table's rules and reminds him of more things done under the table. Really angry, he asked John if he was very angry. John slowly raised his head. He was bloody and his eyes were rotten, but he could still answer yes. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and click the bell icon for new movie clips. See you in the next video.